YouTube gets brutally ratioed after attempting woke takedown of Thanksgiving. YouTube found out that Americans are in no mood for yet another woke lecture about their holidays this weekend when it received overwhelming backlash for posts slating Thanksgiving. The Google-owned company took the opportunity to educate Americans on the history of indigenous people, an alternative day of activism and resistance called UNThanksgiving. You can see their tweet there. UNThanksgiving is about acknowledging, educating, and honoring centuries of indigenous resistance coinciding with New England's National Day of Mourning. UNThanksgiving activates Alcatraz Island, the site of a 19-month occupation by Bay Area natives in 1969. Yep, the resistance from its headquarters in California. And the activism continued. You can actually look at the people that lived on the land you currently live on. And of course, all territory is occupied territory. England is occupied territory, the Middle East. It's all been occupied by different people at one time or another. This isn't some unique thing that just happened only in America. So, UNThanksgiving is about honoring Native American and indigenous heritage to better understand this history. How are you connected to it? How are you guilty, right? Feel bad, surrender, give us money, and all of the power. Yeah, we're familiar with it. But luckily, people are getting sick of this. Everyday Americans were in no mood to accept yet more fake righteousness from Google, a company that has been charged with working with the communist Chinese government while sidelining human rights concerns. Yeah, that's the thing. They want to say, look back in history at all the bad people there, but nobody pay attention to what we're doing over here to consolidate money and power. Not to mention they've worked to overthrow an election to establish a warmonger in place of a guy that's a 3-time Nobel Peace Prize. At least has been nominated 3 times. Yeah, these two right here. We're going back to the old Obama-era doctrine. So if you were a little kiddo when Obama was president, what you don't realize is we lived through 8 years of perpetual war, drone strikes, arming radical Islamists, and toppling foreign regimes. Biden and Kamala, they have both people on the right and the left, neocons and neo-libs. 100-plus John McCain staffers are endorsed Biden, and most of the former Bush administration, too. Not to mention all the warmongers from the Obama years. That's what you voted for. So people push back, and this is what you have to do, is not just fall for this nonsense and cry into your hands. Oh, we're so bad. We're so guilty. Original American sin. Maggie says, hey, YouTube, talk about the Uyghur genocide during Chinese New Year next. Yeah. Think they'll do that? Think they'll talk about modern day atrocities? No, because Google is responsible for them. Google could actually do something, but they are perpetrating evil. They just want to point back into the past. We could do something about some of these now. My oath never expires. Your post is about a narrative that urges fellow leftists, terrorists, to accept the sedition. Yeah, the sedition. Today's leftists are tyrants that think they're going to fool Americans. You support an ideology that killed 100 million and counting. And the answer to that question is communism for 1,000. In case you didn't know. Resident-elects, Salty Air Division, don't lecture people about moral relativism while ignoring Hong Kong. You commie sloth will have your day. Yes, Hong Kong. Free country. At least it was. Stephen Molyneux did a presentation on Hong Kong. He actually went over there, and you know what YouTube did? Not only did they hide the video while the guy still had a channel, they eventually just iced the whole channel. Can't let the truth get out. Gotta keep our precious narrative that white people are evil. Hugstown says, how about you acknowledge your allegiance to China, a place with gulags for Muslims? Fair question. Others took issue with YouTube's version of history. Barmer von Bar-Keystor, honoring centuries of resistance? Do me a favor and do some reading on what tribal combatants did to settlers, especially the women. Oh, it was a war. It was a war, and it was brutal. I mean, the Indians got their jabs in too. And how we're remotely responsible for wars that are hundreds of years old. Am I responsible for the 30 Years' War or the 100 Years' War or the Crusades? Although the Crusades have been grossly misrepresented by revisionist history as well. Yeah, don't think so. Don't think they're going to talk about the settler women. There is nothing special about the indigenous people's experience. They fought wars, enslaved and raped others, and committed genocide all before the Europeans got here. They were treated better than some other ancient peoples, like the Carthaginians. Of course, yeah, we got to have this very narrow window of focus on colonization. But let's talk about how they were living. They were not just like this myth that the Indians just lived in harmony with nature and only killed one buffalo and that's all they needed and it was just peaceful. Yeah, they fought amongst themselves. Warfare was not unknown on the North American continent. President-elect Rizzo, I have plenty of relatives who are Native Americans who celebrate Thanksgiving and honor the day. F YouTube. Yeah, and there's something about giving thanks that puts your mind at ease. There's some sort of... When you sit there and focus on outrage after outrage after outrage, like it really puts you into a bad space rather than focusing on gratitude. And of course, they want people perpetually outraged because those are useful idiots you can manipulate. Time to get out the woke calendar and add yet another day of resistance to it. We have the 2021 Woke Liturgical Calendar, Western Construct of Time Awareness Day, Color Blindness Repentance Day, Cishet Patriarchy Awareness Day, Oppressance Day, Hashish Wednesday, I don't even know what that is, Uterus Havers Day, Military Industrial Complex Awareness Day. Hey, that's actually a good one. And yeah, let's actually talk about the awareness of the military industrial complex, who is fully on board with Biden. War in Syria in T-minus 12 months and counting. Others added their own warning labels to YouTube's tweet. This claim about entire populations being activists by default is disputed. Learn more about how people, even members of oppressed groups, can think for themselves. Very nice. Very nice, yes. Yeah, we're not just big clusters of collectives. We're all individuals. Revisionist history, adding to your biased censorship. Yeah, President Trump is belatedly taking that up. Should have done something sooner to these people. Lol, nah. I like this one from Shay. If you don't like Thanksgiving, you can get the F out of the country. I've actually proposed, as a serious policy proposal, voluntary exile. The Coinbase CEO did this. He paid SJWs to leave the company. 6 months' salary. If you are going to be political instead of being a performer, a worker, and a contributor to this company, the Coinbase CEO paid them 6 months severance pay to just get out. So why not make this offer formal and official? If you hate America, if you think you were brought here against your will, you think it's an oppressive, patriarchal, whatever, 6 months pay, and you get to just leave. You have to sell all your business interests, all your investments, get out of evil, patriarchal America. Just leave. And you can't come back and your children can't come back. Why would you want to? You know, the point is to overthrow the country, of course. Uncle Frank. Yeah. And I acknowledge you can kiss my butt with this holier-than-thou BS. Yeah, holier-than-thou because of the horrible atrocities they are committing real time. And Kaepernick doesn't care about it. LeBron James doesn't care about it. They just want that sweet communism money and the power that go with it. And it's not just Thanksgiving, of course. The point of communism is to eliminate God. And, you know, you've heard of the war on Christmas, the war against Christianity. The point is to eliminate our traditions and eliminate God, because under far-left ideology, the state becomes God. These people are attempting to deify themselves. They want to make themselves the gods over our life. We are the peasants, we are the plebs, and they are the lords and ladies. And they're not hiding it, and it should be obvious to everyone, but man, if you're like me, you sure got family that have trouble seeing it. And here, Dr. Fauci says the U.S. is likely to cancel Christmas. They've been trying this for oh so long. You know, in the early 2000s, it was say Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas to be more inclusive. And people were like, well, okay, you know, I guess. And then we realized it wasn't about being inclusive. It's never about being inclusive any more than UNThanksgiving is about being understanding of Native peoples. It's not what any of this is about.
Happening. We've got to get the vaccine, it's got to be deployed, and we can't abandon fundamental public health measures.
Yeah.
You can approach a degree of normality while still doing some fundamental public health things that synergize with the vaccine to get us back to normal.
So not until the second or third quarter of 2021, though.
Jeez.
Christmas is probably not going to be possible.
Christmas isn't going to be possible not till the second or third quarter of 21. The third quarter of 21. These people have no intention of letting go of the power that this crisis has enabled them to consolidate. COVID-19 is never going away. But hey, at least UNThanksgiving gives us an opportunity to learn some lessons that the native people on this continent learned long ago. And that's the true consequences of open borders and unregulated mass immigration.